Hi, everyone. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. Welcome to You Still Matter, a show about seniors and those who love them. Did you know that July is Disability Pride Awareness Month? Well, it certainly is. And I am so excited about my special guest today. His name is Andres DeJesus. He's a motivational speaker and he is going to be teaching us about disability. So, Andreas, how are you?
I'm doing good, Miss Donna. How you doing?
I'm doing so well. It is a pleasure having you here. I know when you were on my radio show, What is Etiquette Anyway, multiple times, you certainly did teach us a lot. And I know that today will not be any different. So would you like to share with everyone a little bit more about who you are and some of the things of what you do in
Yeah,
addition to motivational speaking?
I got to. I got to. Most definitely. Well, my name is Andre DeJesus, of course. I got 15 years of motivational speaking experience. I'm also born with cerebral palsy as well.
Hmm.
So mm, I kind of know what I'm talking about because I live it. I live the discrimination. I live the untouchability. I live the not easy access to things.
Hmm.
So I know what I'm talking about because I give a fit. And I get to help organizations for people with disabilities. We get to fundraise. I raised over $40,000 for an organization called Youth Talents.
Hmm.
And what they'll specialize in people with physical disabilities as well. They make recreational sports and everything like that for people just like me with a disability as well.
Hmm.
Nonprofit, and I help raise money for them as well. So I'm very, very diverse into this, and
Yeah.
I'm glad to, you for you to have me here so I can share my knowledge.
I am just so thrilled to have you. And so now, which disability do you live with?
I give a cerebral palsy.
Cerebral palsy. Okay. And for those who may not be very familiar, they may think they are, but they really may not be. Can you give just a quick overview?
Okay. Cerebral palsy is it could be from a birth defect or it can happen later on in life.
Hmm.
It caused cerebral palsy is caused by lack of oxygen to the brain.
Hmm.
So sometimes, like if a umbilical cord get wrapped around the child neck during delivery, cerebral palsy can be caused from that.
Hmm.
Cerebral palsy can also be caused by if you get breached,
Hmm.
if your head gets stuck. Cerebral palsy is caused by lack of oxygen to the cerebral cortex.
Hmm.
Cerebral cortex controls how your body, like how your body moves. Yeah,
Hmm.
when someone says, "Oh, I need to react and react to my body," they can react to their body. With some of its cerebral palsy, they can't do that. They always tight and tense.
Hmm.
So that's how my disability formed. I was breached, and I couldn't breathe and got oxygen to a part of my brain.
Hmm. Okay, thank you for that explanation because oftentimes, and we know that there are just a myriad of disabilities, right? And so with trying to educate people so that they can just kind of understand, right? And so I want to let's just kind of dive right in on, again, this is educational here and just teaching. What are some of let's talk about some of your pet peeves, for example.
My pet peeve, I got a yellow, okay?
Hmm.
My pet peeve, one thing that really bothers me is when someone try to baby me
Hmm.
into when I'm having a conversation, they will baby me and say, try to say, yeah, oh, will your mom or dad, or they were talking in CEO tone because they feel like I can't. understand it's that crazy. I can understand them good.
Mm-hmm.
They want to talk very slow. And it's my pet peeve. They don't treat me like I'm a human. They treat me like I'm a little yard disabled boy and need some help.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I know that you had mentioned as well in one of our previous conversations, which I certainly do want to talk about, is the time that you were, well, of course, your mobility is in a wheelchair, right? And so I
Yeah.
remember when you were talking about one time when you were at the mall and you were wanting to enter the mall, but the button wasn't working. Talk about that for a minute, because I know a lot of people that are listening and viewing us are probably guilty of what you're just getting ready to say.
So at the mall, I went to usually I go to the mall, yeah. I like it because it's all indoors and
Mm-hmm.
so I got dropped off there, so I'm rolling up to the entrance and put the button. And I was like, okay, and I'm walking. Maybe I got put to auto. Boop, put to auto. And it was an opening. And I was getting a little bit frustrated. And I had to wait, for people to come by so they could open up the door. And I talked to a gentleman about it, and they said the reason why the button not working it's because so many people use it, especially people that are able-bodied
Mm-hmm.
that use it. And the more time you use that button, the battery operating system inside of it will go, will not work. And usually it's a common thing. It always happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an issue that I feel like it's important because people that need it can't use it and I gotta wait. I gotta my independent got taken away because some other people wanted to be easy at that moment instead of opening the door for themselves.
Mm-hmm. So that is certainly education number one is when you walk up to the door and you see the button, and I think on the button it has a wheelchair, right? And it says
Yeah,
wheelchair access, right?
yeah.
So just because you are walking up to the door and you have many, many bags or whatever in your hand, oh, let me just press that so I don't have to reach out and open the door. Wrong. That no, it's not like it's a VIP entrance where you just hit the button and have the door open. So it's there for a purpose, and I'm so glad that you explained, because I know when I first heard this, I had not even really thought about it being battery operated, number one. And so yeah, that is an issue. And like you said, your independence is stripped at that point. And I know because we've talked about people with disabilities being wanting to be independent. And so, yeah, so that is just really, really important to make sure that we stress that. So that's lesson, I say, number one. So
Mm.
if you're guilty, and I have to say, before I knew about this, I have to say I was guilty back during the pandemic. And the reason for that is because I remember when, they said, oh, well, the germs on the door handles and so on and so forth. So I think everybody was just kind of overkill, right, about that. And so when you came on my radio show and talked about that back then, I was like, oh my gosh. And so we got a lot of feedback from people stating that they did it too because they just didn't know any better. So here again, we're definitely, educating and informing, right? And what about, so let's talk a little bit about, when we're talking about wheelchair access places, parking, parking lots. Oh my goodness. Talk about that, please.
Okay. Parking. It's ridiculous because people that in like got wheelchairs or any special equipment have a handicap sticker. and the handicap sticker is for, of course, people to park closer to the location,
Mhm.
and or if they have a if they have a ramp to get out the vehicle with the power tool, it gives you the necessary space for you to do all that.
Mhm.
And it's just unfortunate that people that don't need it are to using it. I mean, they sometimes they don't even got the ticket. Sometimes they just ride up front, like they own the place. So
Mhm.
they be parking handicap stickers, and it's an issue because someone with a disability that want to get out and go to that same location can't do it because
Right, right.
that was the part deal.
You know what? I had a friend of mine that he um, is in a wheelchair and on oxygen. And he knows that I'm a big advocate for people making sure if they are parked in those parking spots, that they actually have a designated sticker or hang tag or something from their mirror. And so, and he knows, and of course, when we did the etiquette show, we were talking about, pet peeves again and what is proper protocol or not, right? So he would always send me photographs and he would send me, I remember one time he sent me a photograph where there would look like it might have been someone parked in the in the spot, and he had parked next to it because there were no handicap accessible spaces that were left. So he showed me it was probably maybe 2 inches from where this other person had parked that should not have even been there, and how he struggled with having to get, the wheelchair in. It was just, it was awful. So what I did is I sent that photo to our county police department, and they did, they responded back and they thanked me for doing that. But on that note, usually the fines, I know in Georgia, the fines for parking in these spaces, if when you don't need it, it's $100 to $500 in Georgia. And under the code 40-6-226, that is the actual code for the fines. And also, that code states that you can also be fined 100 again to 500, and your vehicle can also be towed. So it's just not worth it. And I've seen people that's, oh, I'm just going to run in for a minute. Okay, you're going to run in. Did you hear what you just told yourself? You're going to run in, and other people that are using this, they need either in a wheelchair or they could be a senior using a walker, right? Or a cane or some other device that helps them where they need to be able to park closer, right? And it is just, it's amazing. And I know when I'm walking, I'm just always looking at tags, and just to see when I see these parking spots that are taken. It's just not the proper thing to do. I remember last year, one of the rappers, Rick Ross, he has a car show, a huge car show in Georgia every year. Well, last year there was a gentleman that attended this car show, and he came from out of state. I don't remember which state he came from. There was absolutely no wheelchair accessibility at all, period. So he went through all that he did to be able to travel here, but he was unable to access the car show. So what he did is he sued them, for not making it wheelchair access. And I know that we've talked about this before. We talked about this previously about buildings. Can you talk about buildings for a second? That I thought, the law stated that they have to have wheelchair access to, but finding out that that's not true.
Yeah, it's it's unfortunate because my barber shop that I go to, when I first got there, they did not have virtual access. There was no way for me to get inside that building. And the reason why I told that barber shop because my original barber was from a different barber shop and he went over there to to new location.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to keep them, of course. But when I noted that even no assets for me to even get in, I had to talk. I talked to the owner about it. Like that's ain't right. I can't get into the building to, get my service done.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Okay, I understand. I'm truly sorry," and put a ramp in for me to where I could put my power tool on and get inside the building.
Mm-hmm.
And not yet that all places though. I mean, it's not that easy to get that easily accommodated for. It's millions of places still in America that it's not accessible to where we can go in, or they will have it to where the doorways are not, yeah, the perfect width for a power wheelchair to even fit into the doorway. It's like most of the places are still not accessible, and it's a problem.
This is 2025, and I thought that laws had been passed, but what you're saying is maybe that's what they said, but it's not reality. So I think we all need to join in reaching out to, our Congress people. We need to just all make sure because this is called equal rights, right? It's nothing that you're asking for that's over and above, you know, for you to have as a disability. And I know that you are representing the community. In fact, I know that you are going to be starting your podcast, which is Inclusion with Andres, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. And oh, that is going to be amazing, I'm sure. But gosh, I just cannot believe that in the year 2025, we're still these I'm just almost speechless, which doesn't happen a lot. But I think that we need to all band together in our different communities, in our different states to make sure this is being done. So, what else would you like to share, really, that's on your heart about this, and as we get ready to conclude?
I feel like I feel like this will need to be accessible,
Mhm.
and not just for people with disabilities, and not just for me, it's for everybody. Think of think of people that have babies and using a baby stroller. If they need to get into a building, a ramp can help with that. So they don't gotta pick up the stroller with the baby and have a risk of falling. Elderly people that have trouble with their knees climbing up stairs, they got a ramp. Elevators, actually working because sometimes elevators do not work for us. Sometimes elevators are down and we can access the second, third, or fourth floor of locations. It's like think of accessibility and inclusion. Everybody gets a part. Everybody, if it's just everybody, if it's just the disabled community, if it's just the senior community, if it's just the people that have children, if it's just a lot of people, and we should really get on top of it so everybody can succeed.
That's an excellent, excellent point. And especially because I think back to when my son was a baby, and I can remember lifting up the stroller, walking up the steps. And I'm thinking, okay, you just do it. And it's like, this is kind of ridiculous. Shouldn't there be a better way to get into this building? And you're talking oftentimes outside those concrete steps, you're having to move up there. But yeah, this is just this is absolutely amazing, and thank you so much for what you're doing. I know you are absolutely amazing. I know that your show will be absolutely amazing as well, and I certainly want you to keep us posted on that, and we'll certainly want to have you to come back because people with disabilities are very talented and just amazing and do wonderful things. And so we need to, be able to share this information. So I'm just really hoping that this particular episode is really going to spark some change. And if we all just kind of again, pull together, band together, I think we will certainly be able to make this world a polite place to live and certainly a better place, to live as well. So, Andres, thank you so much and thank you for what you're doing. And guys, listen, I do want to share some messages. I thank you all so much. Some of you actually you post messages below in the message area. And then some of you also send messages to us via email. And of course, the email is youstillmatter55@gmail.com. I want to share just a few since I promised to do that. It says, Donna, thanks for your show. I enjoy learning so much on each episode. This comes from Karen. Karen, thank you so much. Donna, I look forward to each episode because you and your guests share from the heart. And this comes from Lance. Lance, thank you. Yes, we are so determined to be able to really share from the heart and be passionate about what we're sharing. Here's another one. Donna, I have enjoyed all of your episodes. Please keep up the great content. And this comes from Robert. Robert, thank you so much. And again, I will be sharing additional ones. If I didn't share yours today, I will be sharing yours on additional upcoming episodes. Okay. I do want to send my condolences out to Glenda Horton Manning, of course. She's been on a couple times and she was talking about grandparenting and other topics. And again, she talked about loss as well as seniors as we age we have to prepare for more losses. Well, a week after that episode aired, she actually lost another good friend of hers. So I'm certainly extending condolences to her and their family. But again, guys, please, if you will, like, share, give this episode a thumbs up, and certainly share. And if some other people come to mind, please let them know about You Still Matter as well. All right. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.